Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Selena if you're new, and today we are in the kitchen. I'm just plugging in my slow cookers. I have 3 slow cookers here. These two are the newer ones. They're just cheap from Big W, and this one is one I've had for like a long time. So this is not the video. This is not the video I had intended to make today, but it's the video that we're doing. So what I'm doing is I'm going to get 3 slow cooker dinners on. One will be dinner tonight and the other 2 will be the next 2 nights. And all we will do is reheat these components and add them to the finished product. So when people think of slow cookers, and this is how I used to think too, is that these are fantastic for winter cooking, okay? Because you can have it working away for you and give you a nice warm, cozy stew or something along those lines. These meals are summer slow cooker dinners, okay? Because I love my slow cooker for summer. It makes cooking simple. We eat a lot less the meat and 3 veg sort of style meals when it comes to summer. So we eat a lot of salads. We're doing burgers, we're doing tacos, we're doing just sort of handheld food, stuff we can maybe, pre-make and take somewhere cooler, somewhere wet where we can be swimming and things like that. So tonight's meal, or the 3 meals I'm going to make, we are going to do a spicy lime chicken in one, and that will be something that we have with like taco bowls, where you do some rice and some guacamole and things like that. This particular spicy lime chicken is going to be eaten in soft tacos, and then leftovers will probably turn into taco bowls if there is any. The other chicken dish I'm going to do is a barbecue shredded chicken. So these are both going to be a shredded style chicken. The barbecue shredded chicken we are going to have in some burger buns, so like sliders or something like that. I'll make some coleslaw and that will be that dinner. We may even have some homemade chips or fries, as some people know them as. But the meat part will be done. So it'll be like really quick, really cool, finishing off at mealtime. The third one I'm going to do is going to be a meatloaf. Now, meatloaf isn't necessarily a summer meal, but we're going to do it in there because we love meatloaf on sandwiches. We actually enjoy eating it cold, and we also have it warm. So if we have it warm or hot, we will do it with some mashed potato and some frozen broccoli or something, something super quick and super simple. So that is the 3 I'm doing today. This is my second slow cooker video. Check out it'll probably be on that side. There'll be a link to the other slow cooker video I did if you're interested in slow cooker meals. I love my slow cooker. I just think they are the easiest way to get a homemade meal on the table. So I'm going to start with the slow cooker barbecue chicken. And if you saw the pressure cooker video that I just did recently, and I will also link that video to this video, I did a very, very similar recipe for pulled beef in the pressure cooker. This is a chicken version, and you could swap out beef if you wanted to. This couldn't get simpler. I have 3 chicken breasts here, and to be honest, they're still frozen. They're half and half. So we've got a little bit frozen, a little bit has defrosted. I am just dumping that whole thing in there, and this is why I love my slow cooker. I can just throw frozen meat in here and it will still cook. I've never had a problem using frozen meat. Yeah, so just really, really simple. This is the sort of thing you throw on, you can go out the door or you can get other things done in your day and you can have an easy dinner. You haven't got to turn the oven on. You don't have to heat up the whole house, and perfectly suitable to eat cold as well. If you wanted to have it with a salad, just some of this barbecue chicken and a salad on the side would be perfect. You don't even have to have it as a slider or anything even like that. All right, I have a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce here going in. I want the same amount, a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Also really good with apple juice, especially if you didn't have the vinegar. I have 1.5 cups of barbecue sauce, and this is where you can use whatever barbecue sauce you like. And then I have my seasonings. So the seasonings that I'm using today, I have brown sugar, onion powder, garlic powder. I have some vegetable stock powder because I'm out of homemade stock or broth. I'm just using some vegetable powder, okay? I've got some dried mustard powder and some smoked paprika. I will make sure down in the description box at the very bottom, you will find all of the ingredients for each of these recipes, okay? The method won't be there. You will need to watch the video for the method, but it really couldn't be simpler. Put it in, turn it on. Okay, so there's my spices, and you can see the chicken is just all still together. And that's as simple as it is. Because my chicken is all frozen together and I didn't put the chicken breast in the base of my slow cooker, in a few hours, I'll give this a stir and a bit of a sort of separation. But yeah, even if I wasn't home to do that, I could just leave it, and then before we go to serve it, give it a good stir, because it will need to be sort of shredded up a bit. I'm going to put mine on high simply because I'm running out of time already in my day. This is going to take about 5 hours because my chicken is semi-frozen. If it was fresh and not frozen at all, 3 hours would be enough. So that one is ready to go. So I just don't think it could get much simpler than that barbecue chicken, right? The recipe number 2, the other chicken dish. There's a little bit of cutting involved, but you could probably even do away with that and put in just a nice big tablespoon of garlic and onion powder if you were really short on time or didn't have onion or garlic. So I am just going to slice my onion. I've got 1 small onion. I have 4 sort of smallish garlic cloves here as well. These meals also would be fantastic to put into freezer bags with everything in there, at least the 2 chicken dishes, maybe not the meatloaf, but these 2 chicken dishes, you could definitely prepare these by putting them into freezer bags, all the ingredients all together with fresh chicken, and then pop that in your freezer, and it would become a dump and go summer slow cooker meal, and that would be even simpler. But like I said, this isn't the video I had intended to make today, but it's the one we are doing. I'm not even going to chop these up particularly finely, just chop them. Jarred garlic is also perfectly acceptable. You do whatever works for you. All right, to that I've got another 3 chicken breast. And the reason I use 3 chicken breast is it does give me a nice quantity to get about 8 serves. And for that, that means we get a main meal like one night, and then we either get lunches for a few days or we get a second one that we can use with leftovers and things like that. So I like to do up sort of portions of 8. So I've got my chicken breast in there. Again, it's that halfway between frozen and raw. Okay. To this, I'm going to add a few different things. So I've got some seasonings on my tray here. And again, they will be available in the bottom of the description box. But we have some dried oregano, we have some smoked paprika, we have some cumin, and we have just a little bit of chili powder there. This is sort of a Mexican flavored chicken. Okay, some honey. I want about a teaspoon of honey or thereabouts. Just a little bit for sweetness. I have half a cup of chicken stock, and again, that was just powdered stock that I've added some water to. And then we want to go in with some limes because this is a lime or a spicy lime, the lime chicken. So these are some limes that I've picked off our tree and I have washed them. You'd want about 4, roughly, 4 limes and their juice. So I'm just going to zest them and then I'll add the juice. My limes are pretty big, so I might just do I'll do 4. I've got 5 here, but I'll do the 4. And fresh coriander would be beautiful with this if we had fresh coriander growing. It is so hot at our place at the moment. The garden is, well, to put it kindly, dead. Okay, it's not coping. We've had a lot of really hot, really dry weather, and I haven't had as much time as I usually do to get out there and get it watered and things like that. So the garden is having what I like to call a rest season, and how long that season lasts, no one knows. We have got herbs growing out there, but coriander is just not one of them, because coriander does really well for us at our place in sort of autumn, winter. It always just bolts and goes to seed really quickly in the warmer months for us. So, and it is technically spring, but the weather's been really hot. So it's a hot spring, which is another reason why we are loving, I cannot tell you, I cannot express it enough, how much we are loving these sort of super easy dinners. They work great for lunch too, and they are very well loved on weekends when we are really not wanting to cook because we've got so many other things that we could be doing. But yeah, so slow cookers don't have to be this hot, you know, like a pasta dish or anything like that. And I don't knock them, I love those as well. But when it is really hot, we do like to have those handheld sort of dinners, the tacos, the burritos, the salads, things of that nature. Sliders, like I said. I will be adding salt and pepper later on when I check on these dishes. And I can also add a little bit more honey later on if I feel like it needs it. So that is the spicy lime chicken there. Everything's in there. We're going to also turn that one on to high. So for the meatloaf, it is a little bit more involved than just dump and go, okay? But it's really yummy, so it's worth doing. What I'm going to do is make the meatloaf here, but I'm also going to make like the glaze that goes on top of this meatloaf. If you didn't have the time or didn't want to make the glaze, it's essentially just a barbecue sauce. You could just put some barbecue sauce on it, okay? I just like this particular recipe. So in my little pot here, I have a teaspoon of butter. To that, I'm going to add a teaspoon of sugar. I want to add a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. All right, I have half a cup of barbecue sauce. You could use tomato sauce if you wanted. And again, you could use whatever sort of barbecue or tomato sauce you like. To that, I'm going to add a little bit of coffee. So I poured myself an espresso shot already. I'm just going to add that whole thing in there. If you don't have espresso coffee or you don't want to use espresso coffee, a teaspoon of coffee powder would be perfectly fine. This is now, I just need to add some vinegar. I'm going to add about the same as my Worcestershire sauce. So about a tablespoon, and I'm just using the apple cider vinegar because I've got it out, but any vinegar works. And that is it. So with this, I'm just going to put that on the stove and I just want to simmer it, get the butter melted, get everything sort of marrying up together. So while that's over there, just gently going to simmer away for me, I'm going to make the meatloaf. Now we are going to cook this meatloaf in a bit of foil because my pan or dish that I normally cook meatloaf in doesn't fit into my slow cooker. So I am just going to sort of form it into the foil. Now, you don't have to do any of that. You can put your meatloaf straight in your slow cooker and then just add the glaze later on. The only reason I'm using the foil or a pan, if it would fit, is to make getting the finished cooked product out a little easier, okay? So that's the only reason. If you're happy to sort of scoop out of there or you're able to get it out easily with like a big fish spatula or something, you won't even need to do the foil step. So over here, so I'll just move that out of our way, I have a kilo of extra lean beef mince. If you're using beef mince that's not extra lean, so maybe a little fattier, you probably don't need to add as much liquid as I'll need to add because the fat does help bind things together and stuff like that. So I'm going to add 1 onion, and this is one of our onions. We are able to harvest onions. That is something coming out of the garden at the moment. And I will keep an eye on my glaze that's going on behind me just to make sure we don't burn. Give it a quick mix. Now with meatloaf, you can add some carrot, you can add celery, you can add capsicum. Feel free to add vegetables to your meatloaf. In fact, I'm going to add a grated carrot because we probably won't be serving this as a hot meat component and then be adding like vegetables to the side. So that's going to be a way we are going to have some vegetables in it. So 1 onion, I'm going to give this a quick stir. A carrot. Sounds like it's really bubbling away behind me. Just let that do its thing. Okay, carrot, onion. Okay, to this I'm going to add 1 egg. I'm going to add, I've got a tablespoon of just mixed dried herbs, whatever sort of mixture you want. I have a cup of breadcrumbs that are freshly processed bread. And I have here half a cup of milk and half a cup of water. And this is where I was saying, if you're using a fatter meat or a fatter mince than the sort of 5-star, the extra lean, you may need to add just like a little bit less of your milk water. Now, super clean hands, and we're going to give this a good mix. All right, my hands are clean. I did need to add salt and pepper as well, and I forgot. So I'm going to mix this up, and then I'll just add a bit of salt and pepper. So you just want about a teaspoon of salt and pepper. If you didn't want to do that, you could add some all-purpose seasoning, or even, you know what's really nice? I've got some frozen mince here in the middle. I'm just gonna break that up. What's really nice is like French onion soup packet style seasoning. So you can make that yourself, or if you had some, you could add that. That makes it really yummy too. So adding the milk and the water to this might seem a bit weird because we've essentially made this meatloaf pretty soft. That is what keeps your meatloaf nice and moist. So meatloaf gets a hard or a bad rap for being a dried out log, but it can be really, really delicious. And this is my favorite meatloaf recipe to eat. And as you can see, it's quite a soft, and that's because of the milk water. If you didn't want to add milk, you can just add the water, bring it up to the full cup. If you didn't want to add the water and you just want to use milk, you can do that too, okay? It's not real hard and fast rules here. So this I need to form into a log, but I'm just going to add some salt and pepper just quickly. So what I want to do is form this to be sort of the size, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to pull my foil up around my lid, and now I have a rough, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, there's like a mark where the lid was. So I have a rough idea now of how big of a space I have to make my meatloaf, okay? You could also wrap it entirely if that was something you wanted to do. And another thing, of course, bacon goes delicious on this, as you can imagine it would. Okay, get all of that out of there. You want to press it into itself because we don't have a tray to hold it. We do want to compress it a bit. Okay, I've turned that off now. Now, if you want to make your life even simpler, you could do this. Wrap it up, do more than one, wrap them up, put them in the freezer, and you have meatloaf ready to go straight into your slow cooker. Okay, that's like meatloaf dump and go right there. So again, just like I did with the other two, we will be cooking on high today. You could do low. This will take 6 hours. Okay, and I'm just going to use my foil to get it in there just like that. So as you can see, we've kind of got a boat in there. Just going to press that away because I don't want it to be difficult to cut or peel off. But just like this, okay, we've already turned, I have turned the heat onto high. With our glaze, I'm only going to pour half. So I've put half my glaze on the top, all right? The other half we are going to put on sort of in the last 20 minutes, 30 minutes of cooking. It just does a nice sort of finish off. Yeah, but just a little bit on at the beginning is good. So lid on, my slow cooker is already on high. That is it. This is going to take 6 hours. These two are going to take 5 to 6 hours because they were partly frozen. But as a general rule, chicken breast that you want to do shredded, if it's fresh, give it about 3 to 4. And if it's frozen, you can do 5 to 6. Yeah, so that's basically the timings. Meatloaf takes a little longer because as you can see, it's like a big full round of meat, okay? So that is going to take the 5 to 6 hours. I will bring you back at the end and show you them finished up. I won't plate them simply because, as I said, these are 3 nights worth of meals for us. But that is as simple as it gets when it comes to summer cooking. If you're not going to be using your barbecue or something, you don't want to turn your oven on. Give some summer slow cooker recipes a try and see what you think. Okay, it's been a few hours. Let's just have a look. I did give these a stir. This is our zesty lime or spicy lime chicken. Okay, so the breasts have come apart now and they're just lovely and poaching in there. This is the barbecue chicken. Again, the breasts have come apart and I've just given that sauce a bit of a stir. I'm going to turn this one down to low, just because it doesn't have quite as much liquid in it. And then moving over here to the meatloaf. It is cooking, as you can see, there's grey showing up, but it's looking good. So thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope you did enjoy this video. Don't forget to give some summer slow cooking recipes a try. A couple of ideas for the barbecue chicken. You could have that with like mac and cheese, and you can do mac and cheese in a slow cooker too. So there's another thought if you have more than one. Or if you cook your barbecue chicken and then have leftovers, you could do mac and cheese the next day in the slow cooker. See, like my brain is just going, ooh, all the yummy things. We're going to be slow cooking forever. Yeah, so zesty, spicy lime chicken, taco bowls, tacos, sandwiches, wraps, things of that nature. With the barbecue chicken, we're going to do sliders or burgers, I should say, like a burger bun. Some coleslaw, mac and cheese with it is delicious. Just having it as a side on the side of a salad is also really delicious. For the meatloaf, we can enjoy that with mashed potato. We can put that with some jacket potatoes. We can also have cold meatloaf sandwiches. I love cold meatloaf sandwiches. So there's another thought as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you try them and if you like them. And I will see you next time. Have a fantastic week. Bye.